Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
Peace, peace, peace. Welcome to Revolutionary Wealth Builders over here on 7 Mile Radio. I'm your host, Emmett, where we bring wealth education to the people. I'm happy to have everybody back with us. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about relationships. Now we have to get back to business, get back to the business of being ahead of schedule, getting back to the business of acquiring the knowledge and information that we need to survive and thrive in this current economic climate that is severely stressing our households. I'm only here to help. I'm not here to condemn. I want to bring you the information that you need. I want to bring you the information that you need in order for your household to sustain what is the impending economic reset. Some people calling it an economic collapse. There's a lot of things going on that we are going to discuss today. I'm going to explain to you why these things are happening, and I'm going to tell you what you need to do. We talk about these things often, but it's obvious that I have to hit you guys from another angle because I want to make sure that everybody is good. What's up, Fee? How are you?
What's going on, Fee?
Yeah. So, as I always do, I want to make sure that everybody knows who's working behind the scenes, taking care of their business. I'm the super producer, Mark, 7 Mile Radio, Mark.
What's going on, good brother?
How you feeling today?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm always looking forward to your show, man. You know, as many of the shows that I appreciate and I get you know, entertainment and information from, man. Yours is one of my favorites out of all of them. Because I'm literally learning through the whole show. You know what I mean? You're one of the brothers that have a lot of information, a lot of valuable information for our community, and I appreciate you bringing it to the platform, man. So it's a good day today.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's interesting because somebody jumped on one of my lives on social media and said, how are you repeating all of this information? This information can't be accurate. And what I wanted to get them to understand is that I study this information anywhere between 3 to 6 hours every single day.
What does you repeating it have to do with the accuracy of it? I was
Right.
just wondering.
Well, I think that what they were saying was I was giving them too much data. It was too much information, too many dates.
Oh, how do you know all of this?
Exactly. And what they don't understand is that I study this 3 to 6 hours a day. And the only reason why I'm saying that is because I want people to understand that I'm not just these are not guesses. I'm studying trends. I'm studying history, and these things happen over and over and over again. We good with video? Because on my joint, I'm seeing 7 Mile Radio.
No, we good. We on there.
Oh, okay. Let me see something real quick. And so everybody stay with me. So today we are going to talk about the gas prices. The title of today's show is Overpriced Gas and Why Your Cash is Trash, right? Mm-hmm. And today, let me see here. Okay, there we go. It was something going on with my phone. And why your cash is trash. I want everybody to know that your cash is trash is not my opinion. That is a statement that was made by a billionaire by the name of Ray Dalio at the Davos conference. He basically said that everybody who is in cash as an asset or a vehicle for savings will eventually lose the majority of that. Because eventually the dollar will crash. Now, I know a lot of you probably understand that, but what you guys don't understand is that they're not going to prepare us. They're not going to say, okay, it's going to happen next week. You're not going to have time to get your financial affairs in order. You're going to wake up one day and the dollar is literally going to be hyperinflating. And what that means is you're going to wake up and one day a carton of eggs is going to be $12. I remember back in July 2019 when I was shooting my podcast on Facebook, I was explaining to you guys, I had a $20 bill on the screen and I said, one day this $20 bill will only be able to buy you a carton of eggs. That was in 2019, almost 3 years ago. And I said was in 36 months or less. Well, we are getting close to that time. Anytime I tell you something that I spoke about on a past show, I'm not bragging and I'm not saying I told you so. What I am actually trying to articulate is that the data is available. I have researched the data. I have went and got it, and I am bringing it to us, bringing it to our people, and I am asking you to trust me. That's the reason why I do that. I'm asking my people to believe in my research, believe in my information, because if you believe in me, it's going to help you. And so let's go back to what I want to do now real quick is I want to go back to some statements that I've made over the last 36 months. And so what I did is I pulled up some information, some screenshots on some things, and I'm gonna run through these real quick. But then while I'm running through them, while I'm running through them, I'm gonna just break down to you what I was trying to articulate. So if you go back to March 5th, 2021, or you go back to May of 2021, I spoke about gas prices being $8.50 to $10. And so just keep that in mind. We're gonna blow through these, and then I'm gonna come back and talk about them one by one. And we're gonna start with the gas prices. And so I kind of reiterated back in May that this was the statement that I made. I said that gas prices by 2022 would be $8.50 or $10. Interestingly enough, I had a dude, one of my Facebook friends, say, because gas was like $3.50 when I posted that, he said, "What exactly did you get right?" And what I tried to explain to him, I said, just be patient. It's not about me getting anything right. I'm not bragging about anything. You need to prepare. In that video at the 15-minute mark on my Facebook page, when I'm describing why gas prices will get to $8.50 to $10, I specifically explained to you how in the late 70s, early 80s, with the recession hitting the American people heavy, gas was at $1.50 at that time. The price of gas eventually ended up tripling from $1.50 to, well, not tripling, but going up about 150%. At the time when I made that video, gas was $3.50. If you go up 100%, that's $7. Another 50% of that $7 is additional $3.50. That puts you at $3. That puts you at $10.50. And so just based on some basic inflationary math, some loosey-goosey math, I knew that we would at least top out somewhere around $10.50 a gallon. And this was back in March of 2021. This was well over a year, almost a year and a half ago. And so what should you have been doing back then? Well, in that video, I explained to you that it was important that you start getting your gas 55 gallons at a time, get a drum, and put the gas in a drum. And then you could put the gas in your car yourself using a pump. Why is that important? Because if you're buying gas at $2.50 a month earlier, you are actually shorting the gas price by buying the gas at a cheaper price earlier in the process. And so you're saving money. So we could have saved hundreds of dollars just by taking heed to the information that was on the screen that day. I remember you saying, get barrels and fill them with gas last year. And so gas is something that it doesn't hold for very long. It holds for 6 months to a year, and you have to treat it. But you can always buy your gas up front. And even I'm not buying enough gas up front because I'm still having to pay, even filling up barrels tomorrow, I'm still having to pay today's prices, inflated prices. But I won't have to pay tomorrow's inflated prices because gas is going to go to $8.50 to $10. If we're buying it at $5 now, you're still saving money. And so it's just important to understand that. It's just really about taking the knowledge and doing the right thing with it. That's it. And so shortly after, I started to make a series of YouTube videos, and we eventually took some screenshots of these videos, and they are time stamped with the dates. And I want to show you these because all of these things that we discussed are coming to pass. And I don't know how many ways or what I need to do or what I need to say to convince those that I love, my people, that this information is real. Xylene Griffin. Okay, now what? We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, Xylene. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But I want to go through all of these. I want to go through all of these screenshots real quick before I start to discuss what you need to do. And so ultimately, there is a plan that we have to put in place. But before we even get there, Xylene, we have to first come to grips with the reality that we've been ignoring this information. You follow what I'm saying? So we hit a couple of those up on the screen. And so we can run through. We can just run through all of them real quick. You can just hit them
Life
up.
cycle of the U.S. dollar.
Yep. And so I discussed some time ago, I can't remember the exact date, but I discussed some time ago that, actually it was 2 years ago, that the life and death cycle of the dollar was imminent, that the dollar would eventually meet its end. So I'm telling you that again today. So Xylene, before we have to pump our brakes, because before we get to the now what part, we have to first agree that the information is accurate. Because if the information isn't accurate, you may say, now what? What do I need to do next? But there are thousands upon thousands of people that have heard what we've talked about who have ignored it. And we have to do everything in our power to bring as many of those people up to speed as it relates to the information as we can. And hit the next one.
Hyperinflation.
Yeah. Oh, hyperinflation. Okay. And so hyperinflation may be here soon. Are you prepared? So what is hyperinflation? Hyperinflation is that everything that you typically buy every day, it's going to take you hundreds times that amount to buy it. So gas is going to go to $10. So that's 5 times the price from early last year. At one point in time, gas was $2, $2.10. When gas gets to $10, that's a multiple of 5, right? So that's a 500% increase. That's inflation. Hyperinflation is every day you go to the pump, gas is going to get more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. The other one 2 years ago was titled, Are You Running Out of Time? We are running out of time to understand what we are doing with our money and what we should be doing with our money, as opposed to what we should be doing with our money. As the life cycle of the dollar continues to move in a direction of the dollar being dead, i.e. Ray Dalio's cash is trash, we're going to come to some realizations that the things that we buy every day, we won't be able to buy with United States currency. Cash is trash. We have to embrace that reality. And if you don't understand that you are running out of time, then you will eventually, in effect, run out of time. What's the next one we got?
3 economic realities.
Oh, 3 economic realities. So in this joint, we talked about the upcoming food shortage. We talked about the devaluation of the dollar. And then we talked about the market corrections and resets. And this was in 2020. So this was over 2 years ago as well, May 16, 2020. So what's happening right now? Food shortages. You may not understand that there's a food shortage, but there are food shortages. But more importantly, there are wheat, corn, and barley shortages. There are nitrogen shortages. And with nitrogen shortages, there's going to be fertilizer shortages. Our food shortages are going to hit us hardest in 2023. So get prepared now, and we're going to talk about all these things. And then the final one, I talked about this 2 weeks ago, 10 reasons why the housing market bubble will pop. I talked about a multitude of things in this video. I have realtors right now telling me that I have no idea what I'm talking about. But in reality, a lot of these realtors are hoping and praying that the housing market doesn't pop because they believe in their mind that the best opportunity for them to make money is if housing prices continue to rise. But a good realtor is going to make money whether housing prices are low or high. That you're going to make 6%, just sell 3%, whatever, just sell more houses. So let's talk about the gas prices. Okay, so Xylene said, now what? So here's what. Go buy a 55-gallon drum today and fill it up with gas. Gas is $5 a gallon. Multiply that by 55, and you're going to be spending somewhere around $275 for gas. But in another 3 months, that same $275 that you that you spent, you're going to be spending $600.
I just put a meme up on the screen from the Metro Detroit News that reads, Michigan could see gas to rise to $8 a gallon, analysts warn.
Wow. And it's interesting that an analyst would create that meme and then everybody would run out and say, what do I need to do about gas? But if we would have been listening 2 years ago, we would be in a better position. And so I need for people to listen to what we're talking about. All right. So I'm going to read your comment in 1 second, Toy Lynn, but I want to get back to the gas piece. If you can't get a 55-gallon drum, then get 5 or 6 5-gallon gas cans. But whatever you do, you need to store some gas ahead of time, because every time you fill up a 5-gallon gas can, you're going to be saving $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a whop, which is a lot of money when you're talking about the inflationary pressures that the dollar will end up experiencing. So for gas, buy your gas in advance. Buy your gas in advance. All right, let's go to Toy Lynn's comment. What's going on with you, Bat? You've been putting us up on game, and we choose not to listen or act. I knew what you were saying was not far-fetched from the truth. We keep saying now what we gonna do when you consistently keep telling us what to do and to prepare.
You know, that's always the thing that people say that maybe don't believe or don't see or don't understand what's going on. Like, okay, so it's almost like to challenge you or to prove, like, or just like you said, the dude on your Facebook said, how do you know this? What makes what you're saying the truth? Or just because you're saying this, or what's next if you got all of the answers, if you got all of the game plan, and what's next? It's like these are the people that don't believe or don't understand. That's what it feels like to me when they say that.
Right, well, the reality is this is something else that I learned. It's hard work to go buy a 15-gallon, to go to Home Depot. Well, actually, it's not, but it's hard work to some people. It's difficult to go to Home Depot, get a 15-gallon gas container, then go to the gas station and fill it up with 15 gallons of gas ahead of time. Put that in your garage. Buy another one and do it again. Now you got 30 gallons of gas sitting to the side for 6 months. In 6 months, gas price is going to be $7.50. You would have paid $5.10 for the gas today, and you would have saved money. What other options do we have to deal with the gas prices? Some other things that I'm going to tell you to do. Buy a very good bike. And when I say a very good bike, I mean a bike with huge tires, a bike that's going to last, and start to use it to avoid using your car under certain circumstances. If you go, there's no reason that if you live in the university district, there's no reason to drive your car up to Mumford to go work out. Ride your bike. And so that way you are going to minimize your gas usage and you will increase your gas savings. Every little bit counts. What about the life cycle of $1? Okay, I'm going to tell y'all this one more time. If you have a lot of cash currency in digital dollars or in paper currency, if you have a lot of it, the first and number one thing you need to do is start to move those dollars into other assets. Some of the things that I suggest: real estate. And I know that this sounds difficult. Well, real estate is sky high right now. You got to understand where I'm coming from with this. You're going to overpay for real estate. But it is better to overpay for real estate today than to lose $70,000 in fake U.S. fiat currency because you did nothing with it but put it up under your bed or left it in the bank. When the banks collapse or reset or bail your money in, they're going to do one of the three. They're going to take your money, period. Your money is going to get taken. If they don't take your money, the dollar is going to collapse to where it hyperinflates to the extent that $1,000 will only buy you a pack of cigarettes. So you're going to lose the paper dollars anyway. Either way, if you save in green paper, you're going to lose, period. We all are, because I'm going to have to keep some of the paper currency to conduct business in America. But I've already come to the conclusion that I am going to have to eat that loss. I'm going to eat it, and you will too, period. So now you must understand the lesser of two evils would be to purchase a 2-family flat for $80,000. Let it generate the income. Buy one that's already in order if you have a surplus of cash. Let the income that it generates come in, and then you take that and you buy hard assets. You buy land, you buy vacant lots, you buy precious metals, you buy your dry goods, your food, you buy your ammunition, you buy your tools, you buy your weapons with the income that the 80,000 is creating. And when the dollar collapses, the fiat currency is going to burn off of the property, but you'll still have the property. You can put your family members in it. You can continue to rent it. You can live in it yourself, but you won't be able to do anything with the dollars that have disappeared and you have lost all the purchasing power in them. Does that make sense? So for anybody who says, yeah, but property is overpriced, it is overpriced. It's not a good buy right now. But the problem is that asset class, meaning real estate, will still be a tangible thing that you can touch and keep and give to your children. The United States dollar will go to zero. The European philosopher Voltaire said that all fiat currencies will return to their intrinsic value, which is zero. Was you getting ready to say something, good brother?
No, I'm putting your name on the screen. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I got you. I thought you was getting ready to say something. So you can move your U.S. fiat currency dollars into real estate. You can move your U.S. fiat currencies into another interesting asset class if you don't have as much money. So let's say you have $1,000 saved up. Do you know what I would do right now? I would take $300 of that, go to Sam's Club. I would buy ramen noodles. I would buy 50 pounds of rice. I would buy hundreds and hundreds of canned goods, veggies. I would buy canned vegetables. I would buy canned fruit. I would buy canned protein, meaning meat and tuna. That's what I would do with $300 of $1,000 if I had saved. That $300 worth of food is going to be worth more than the entire $1,000 of paper currency sooner than later. And so if you don't have a lot of money, you want to pivot your small amount of savings into silver and dry food, canned food. So Zylian Griffin said, now what? I'm telling you now what? Whether you do it or not is on you. So I just said, the dollar's going to zero. It will be worth nothing. If you have a lot of dollars, $80, $90, $100,000, $200,000, you have to transition out of the paper currency asset class and transition into asset classes that are tangible, meaning real estate, land that you can grow food, precious metals, vacant lots, even a truck. It can be a work truck. It can be a moving truck. But trucks will become of immense value later after the dollar collapses. Peace, what's going on with you, Keith? Keith Hero, how you doing, good brother? And so the next, now what? What are we doing if we don't have a lot of money? We are buying dry food. We are buying tools that we need. Axe, knife, rope, flashlight, batteries, a lot of cigarette lighters for fire. You need an axe, you need a hatchet. Your energy will be wood if your house does not heat up. You will get a metal drum and you will burn fires at your front door, whatever you got to do. There are ways to survive calamity. You have to start thinking in terms of the United States dollar is going to collapse. The economy is going to collapse with it. And with that is going to come civil unrest. So you're going to need tools to protect yourself.
Weapons, yeah.
You're going to need ammunition, loads and loads of ammunition, even ammunition of the tools that you don't have. So if you don't have a 38, you still can invest in 38 ammunition because you will trade it for things. You need, even if you don't drink coffee, get coffee. You can trade it for things. I don't eat sugar, but Domino's sugar, but I'm going to keep pounds of it because I know people love it for trade and barter. Have things that you can barter. So when you get to talking about now what, People really don't want to know now what.
It's so uncomfortable for them to live that way.
They don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
you don't really want
to attach to the system that is right now today, and it's too uncomfortable and too unrealistic for you to think that what you're saying it will ever come to pass.
Exactly. You're not really about the now what life. I'm not talking about you personally, Zalin, but the majority of us who talk that now what shit, they ain't really about it because they're not really wanting to get prepared. Your relationship with United States dollar is you so in love with it that you don't want to part with it and put it into things that will save your life later, and that's facts.
They want to fix that sounds more comfortable to them, that's more conducive to the system that they already live in.
Exactly. And so most people are not really about the now what life. You're going to need rubber boots. You're going to need a gas mask. And before you say that a gas mask is expensive, you can get a gas mask off eBay for $50. You're going to need iodine tablets. You're going to need batteries for your flashlight. You're going to need fish mox. That is amoxicillin for animals. You're going to need medicine. You're going to need things that your paper dollars will not buy when the dollar collapses. So you need them ahead of time. They are going to be like money. You're going to need seeds to grow food. Gardening seeds are going to be the new money. Farmers are going to be the richest, wealthiest, and most opulent people, just like the Great Depression. So that's now what. So who's going to go out and start taking care of their business? The now what is get off your ass and take care of your business. That's the now what. The now what is now what you going to do. You have the information. And here's the interesting thing about everything I said. If I was dead wrong and swung and missed by a mile, which I'm not, all of the things that I told you to go buy, you still can use them every day. You lose nothing. From the gas, to the flashlight, to the tools, to the hatchet, to everything, to the ammunition, all of it. All of it you can still use. The wealth is in the land and the real estate. You will have shelter and you'll be able to grow food. The system will collapse and dollar will be no more. Exactly. And the dollar not being anymore is a strange concept to people because ever since we were born, dollars have did their job. They've did their job. Mm-hmm. And dollars will always exist.
But look at but again, right, when you say that, look at the decrease in the value of the dollar over the time. No?
Exactly.
I mean, so if you look at the math, if you look at the track record of it, it looked like it's going to get worse before it get better.
Now, and I'm going to tell you something about gas that's going to blow your mind. 35 years ago, when I was a kid, gas was $1.
Yes,
gas
89 cents a gallon.
So today it's $5 a gallon. That's a 500% increase in gas. That means that the dollar has decreased by 500% between then as in relationship to the dollar. So the dollar is already collapsing. Gas prices are not going up. The value of the dollar is going down in what you can buy with it. That's why your chicken wings are $30 for a family pack now. That's why a family pack of ground turkey is $13 now when it was $8 just about 2 months ago. And so people need to understand the now what is the first thing that we must do is come to grips with the truth and the reality of what we're discussing right now. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to discuss some other things that we need to do. If you have children whose feet grow fast, you need to buy them boots ahead of time. Buy them clothes and have them a stockpile of clothes ahead of time. Growing children will outgrow their clothes, and we want to be able to make sure that they are clothed adequately and comfortably. And so it's going to be important to buy a lot of things ahead of time. So essentially, if you really pay attention to what I'm saying, I'm telling you to spend your dollars. In the past, we have said save, 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 save. Well, now savers are going to lose. You cannot save in U.S. currency. If you're going to save in silver. If you're not going to save in silver, then save in clothes,
land.
Save in dry food, save in land, save in real estate, save in assets, save in ammunition, save in tools. Everybody understand what I'm saying? Save in those things. Save in silver. Don't save in U.S. currency. U.S. currency is not going to help you in the future. You cannot save in U.S. currency. Let me see here.
I'm going to open the call-in lines, too, just in case anybody want to call in, comment, chime in, ask questions or anything. 313-723-0481. The number is right there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Yeah. And so I apologize for that little bit of dead air real quick, but I'm always trying to make sure that I'm reaching out to everybody and keeping everything up to speed. But I know that I can get a tad bit touchy when it comes to this. But like I was just having this conversation about my wife. My wife said that I'm judgmental and that I put too much pressure on people to get it. And it's only out of love. Like, I don't research this stuff for 6 hours a day so I can be listening to Europeans describe how they are trying to plot against my people. I'm getting this information to help us so we can do what we need to do. You need to practice growing food. Get you some raised bed gardens, put them in your backyard so you can learn how to grow food so you can survive. We are going to experience, I'm not even going to call them tough times, but I'm going to tell you why why this is happening. I won't even call them tough times, because if we are tougher than the times, then it's just a challenge. But I'm going to explain something to you. For many, many years, we complained about the education system in the United States. And so what God is going to do, he is going to crash that system. That education system will not be educating our kids in the next 2-3 years. In the next 2-3 years, we will be homeschooling our children. And that is the right thing to do. But the reason why God is going to crash the system is because we are not disciplined enough to pull our children out of public schooling. And that includes me. I've homeschooled my son for years, but my son is back in an African center school in which I trust. But ultimately, we are not disciplined enough to pull our children out of the public school system. That's why God gonna crash it. He gonna make us educate our own children. God is gonna crash this economic system because this economic system has been inequitable towards his chosen people for far too long. And if God doesn't crash it, you are gonna continue to bootlick and run up under politicians and capitalists. And he knows that you will never divorce this system under your own volition. So he gonna crash it and reset it and give you an opportunity to barter with your people, to grow your own food and be in control of your own destiny for a change. Because he know you're not gonna do it for yourself. He's gonna crash the food system because he knows he's gonna crash the healthcare system because he knows that you are not going to eat right. You're going to just keep eating incorrectly, buying pills, and going to doctors that are not going to do anything but prescribe you medicine that is going to kill you. So he's going to crash this current medical system for your benefit because he knows that you're not going to do it on your own. And like I said, he's going to crash the food system. He's going to destroy all systems that have been propped up by American behavior, Americanized capitalism, Americanized ways of doing things. And we're going to be forced to reset how we trade with each other, how we barter with each other, how we interact with one another, how we educate our children, how we grow our food. We cried about Monsanto. We cried about genetically modified organisms. We run around talking about there are no seeded watermelons. So now he gonna force you to grow your own watermelon. So you are either going to conform to doing it the right way, the African way, using self-determination and being in control of all your own systems, or you're gonna meet your demise. That's now what. So now what you gonna do? You either gonna get your shit together or you're gonna die. And that's the bottom line. Y'all can call it a pessimistic point of view, but don't do what you have to do and watch what happens. Y'all going to be running to people that you know are prepared, and they're not going to help you because you were already told and educated on what you need to do. Which brings me to my next point. instead of eating bad food and then running to the doctor so they can prescribe you high blood pressure medicine, Coumadin to thin out your blood and all this other crap. How about you start paying your holistic health awareness practitioners a visit and help them put you on a preventative protocol that helps keep you healthy before you even get sick? Which brings me to a good segue. Next week, we are going to try to get Dr. Carla Mitchell into the studio for a show titled already Ask Dr. Carla. If we can't get her next week, we're going to try to get her the week following, because we have to get her in here so we can connect you with her, so we can connect, so she can tell you guys how to do some basic things that are in your household to take care of yourself, so we can avoid going to these hospitals and not making it out. I'm going to repeat that. We've been going to these hospitals and we have not been coming home. We have been going to these hospitals and we have not been coming home.
Reminds me of a post that I just seen come up, a timeline from you, brother, right? And the post says, the black community says, I don't know why we are sick. F cancer, it just comes from nowhere and attacks the black community, but also the black community. And this woman is pouring like a 10-pound bag of sugar into a pan of sweet potatoes.
Yep. Boom. And so I posted this today, and this, I feel like, I'm going to just keep it a buck. Typically, these types of photos, they offend people that are overweight,
Yep.
and they offend people that don't eat right. Not everybody, but some. Some people keep it a buck with themselves. But anytime you do those types of things, people have this assumption that you are coming for them. And all we want to do is save your life.
But you know what? I just had this conversation with one of my sisters maybe 2 days ago where, because we was talking about Lizzo. Lizzo was playing on the radio. We was in the car, and she was talking about how she is, she gives Lizzo kudos because she is comfortable in her skin to do the things that she do. I said, but she's not. For real.
Right.
Because when you see some of the things that Lizzo say as far as her ridicule that she gets from people, you know what I mean? She's kind of hurt about the way that she is, right? And not only that, like when you see women who are big and then they lose weight, they have that side-by-side comparison of themselves, and it's always the caption is always, I may have been smiling in this picture, but I was so unhappy and unhealthy, and I was, lying to myself and all of that. So really what that does is speak to a falsified confidence that a lot of unhealthy people have, in that state where they're unhealthy. You know what I mean? And they know that it's unhealthy, because when they get healthy, then they want to talk about how unhealthy they were and how fake the smiles were on their faces and how unhappy they really were with themselves on the inside.
Drop a bomb for yourself on that one, bro. Because what you just said, I was going to allude to that with Monique.
Ooh.
Monique's entire show.
Same one.
Monique's entire show used to be how she was a big girl and she didn't like being skinny and that she was proud of being big. Then she went and lost 150 pounds. She's gained a lot of it back, but she went and lost 150 pounds and changed her entire tune. And so she was lying in the beginning. But interestingly enough, when she used to say that, I used to always say, she lying. She not keeping it above.
I say it all the time when big women give themselves, talk about how proud they are of themselves in that state. And it's not to say that big women aren't beautiful, right? There's some beautiful big women, but
absolutely,
don't lie to yourself in that moment and give this falsified impression that you are confident or you love yourself completely the way that you are when you really don't.
Yeah, and maybe they love themselves and they are okay, but in the back of their mind, they want better for themselves.
Okay,
they might want better because it's a lot of bigger women out here who do love themselves.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say that as if they don't for real.
I got what you were saying, but they'll look in the mirror and might say something like, "I could stand to go ahead and trim a few down," keeping it a buck with themselves. My only issue with that whole process is that when you say anything about food or you say anything about being healthy and not taking care of yourself in a weight type capacity, that it is fat shaming. And that's never my intent to fat shame anybody. But going back to that post about the sugar, sugar is going to be that's going to be the thing that a lot of people that are addicted to it are going to go through some withdrawals once it's no longer available. It's very expensive. Once it becomes very expensive and it's no longer available like it should, like they would want it to be, people going to go through a process. So my suggestion to you now, if you know you eat a lot of sugar, which I do as well, not Domino's sugar, I typically use raw honey. I don't use a lot of granulated processed sugar, but I do drink fresh fruit juice, which has sugar in it. I appreciate and love sugar, but I do take days and days and days off of it because I love it. But what we have to do and make certain that we have to recognize that reality, and we're going to have to start to back off the processed food and the sugars, because you are going to go through have headaches and go through a process when it's no longer available. So we're going to have to start divorcing all of these systems that America has addicted us to. And it's very important, because if we don't do that, we will go through some heavy, heavy withdrawals on a multitude of fronts, and we may not survive and make it out on the other side. So we have to prepare on the front side.
Now, I'm no chemist, right, or scientist, so I don't know how true this fact is. Maybe you can expound on it a little bit more, but I've seen plenty articles where they compared sugar to crack, right?
Cocaine.
And cocaine, and it being one periodic table element away from cocaine.
Yeah.
As part of the reason why it has such addictive qualities. It's basically damn near the same chemical.
Right. Well, if you think about the concept of sugar and how it's constructed chemically, it grows from a sugar cane. It grows from the ground in the same areas of the world that the earth produces coca leaves. Right. You can't. In certain places, you just can't grow certain things. But then there are certain places that you can grow them.
That you can only grow certain things.
Exactly. And so you have to think about the areas of the world that sugar can be grown. We know it can be grown in the Dominican Republic. We know it can be grown in South America. We know it can be grown in the Latin American countries, same countries that you can grow cocaine. It can be grown in Cuba and Florida. Also, while they may not grow a lot of cocaine in Cuba and Florida, the main Latin American countries you can. And so, what's the word I'm looking for? Geologically, coming from the ground, how the earth will produce this plant, if it can grow in the same areas. Right. So that means that they have a strong relationship from inception. Right. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, chemically, I can't speak to, but I do know that sugar is as addictive as any Schedule I drug. And it is important for us to understand that as well. I'm going to read a couple comments real quick. We have been suffering under this system for a long time and never really gained anything from it. We need to turn back to the old ways of our ancestors. And that was the point I was making, Toy Lynn. Marcus Messiah Garvey once said that be careful of drinking the poisons of Western civilization, because we will eventually die from the effects of it. God is trying to give us one last opportunity to do for self, to reset and do things for ourselves. We're going to lose a lot of what we believe to be conveniences, but it is of the utmost importance that we take it back to the essence of the motherland with how we do business with one another, how we treat each other, and the things that we do on an everyday basis to survive. And so LaShonda True Beauty Robinson said, no more liquor in moderation. To be honest with you, alcohol will be one of the things that I stock up on and save, not for my own drinking.
Barter.
For trade and barter. But, and not to say that I want to do that to my people, but I may need something so bad that the only thing that I may have that might be able to feed my son or my daughters or my wife or myself is a pint of liquor. So I'm going to have it and save it. What do I say to liquor? Moderation. I take months and months off of partaking in into the alcoholic libations, right? And I take months off, 3 or 4 months at a time, because I always want to stay in control of any intake into the body. So I wouldn't say no more. I would say yes, if you feel like you need to do away with it for your own personal journey, yes. But if you feel like you can do it in moderation and still stay in control of your choices, then I don't have an issue with that. What's going on with you, Poops?
Bees on what is it? Bees Zen message on YouTube said it's not an easy process, no lie, but it's beyond worth it. Going vegan, plant-based heals. It's all about dopamine.
Absolutely. And who bees?
Yeah, bees on bees message on bees massage. Bees Zen massage on YouTube.
Bees Zen massage.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head. just to be clear, vegan for me doesn't mean I'm buying vegan substitute products like soy, tofu, et cetera, et cetera. Vegan for me means straight up vegan, plant-based, eating plants. That's what vegan means to me. I'm not a vegan. I'm not any of that. I'll eat turkey from time to time. I'll eat fish. I'll eat chicken. But I take breaks off of all of that stuff. It's just about doing it in moderation. I'll go 2-3 weeks without ingesting any animal whatsoever. And but ultimately, if you can create the right balanced diet with beans and the right proteins, beans, nuts, grains, protein, supplements, you can do away with the meat altogether, and you really can live a healthy lifestyle as a vegan. We really were designed to eat plants primarily.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah. So where we at? We at 11:52. We at the end. We're almost at the end of our time today. If anybody want to call in, you can throw the call in number back up. Anybody want to call in and chit chat for a minute? Feel free to call in and kick it with us here in the studio. Next week we may have to do the show a day early, so be prepared and be on the lookout on all social media platforms that we may be notifying you guys that we may do the show a day early. My goal is to have a segment next week on Ask Dr. Carla. Dr. Carla Mitchell is a clinical herbalist, an African herbalist, and a naturopathic doctor. She has over a decade and a half of experience in this area, and she has a naturopathic practice on the west side of Detroit. So hopefully we can get Dr. Carla. Oh, and she happens to be my wife. So we're going to try to get Dr. Carla on either this next show coming up or the subsequent following week. And I'm trying to get more cognizant of bringing the guests on that can bring you the information that you need and the laughs that you need and the enjoyment that you need and the edification that you need. So we're trying to at least have somebody on at least once a month or twice a month. But I said that the inaugural guest would be my wife. It is only right. And so we won't have any guests on until we have on Dr. Carla. Then after that, we're going to go to town with the guests. We're going to bring on some good people from the community that are well known, that are well educated, and with a broad base of knowledge and a broad base of insight on life experiences and systems and everything. So I'm excited on what we're going to have going on in the future.
Jerica Jones, comment on Facebook said, all things are lawful but not expedient. I agree with you, bro. We have to understand what we are capable of handling on our own individual basis. We all have our vices, whatever they may be. However, as a topic being discussed points out, we must learn to modify our pleasures. Just a genius post. And it's a genius post. And the reason why I say it's a post from a genius is because quote unquote vices, because what's a vice to someone else may not be a vice to another person. And in addition to that, we all have a cross to bear, and we have to come to that understanding. Now that keeping it a buck with you, Jerica Jones, that's where I became better, because I used to be hyper judgmental on other people's choices. But everybody has some form of a weakness or something that they don't do well or something that they don't manage well or handle well. And so we have to support one another through that. That's where us helping each other comes into play.
And I promise you, a person can be great and still have vices. Dr. Martin Luther King smoked squares, and he liked to partake in, a little extracurricular activity outside the home. Those are not necessarily things that someone else would support or believe are okay. Right. But he was still capable of changing the lives of millions of people, even though he had a couple of vices. And so we must keep things in perspective.
Most definitely.
Yep. And that includes me. I need to keep my mind right. To be honest with you, the person who really kind of keeps me on point with that is my wife. She'll say, you need to lay off people. People are going to be people. You need to love on these people, and you need to stop teaching them like they're your children and start to embrace these people and give these people an opportunity to see what you're saying from out of love. And so I'm working on it. We getting it together.
Yeah, it's a lot of our profound scholars and educators, right, that have been drugged through the mud via scandals, right? And then our people will throw the baby out with the bathwater, no matter how much knowledge or how valuable the knowledge is that this person brought to us. They got involved in this one thing, and now it discredits everything today. You know, like we got to understand, like nobody's perfect. Like you said, we all have vices, we all have flaws, and things that we can better ourselves, areas we can better ourselves in. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you know, listen to the information. Like you said, Martin Luther King, he did what he did outside of the household. Like there's some people that would probably looked at that and say, you know what, I can't trust nothing that man say because he don't even do right in his own household. And I feel like we need to stop doing that to ourselves, amongst ourselves in our community. Look at the value in the information or the system that this person is trying to implement, or just look at the value in the work that this person is doing, as opposed to dragging them through the mud for their you know their wrongdoings, as if you are a perfect being.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. This is just a tidbit of knowledge that I've learned through the years. The first thing that I learned is that no man can be my leader. He can lead a cause, lead an organization. People think I'm arrogant. People think I'm full of myself. But the reason why no man can be my leader is because all men are flawed. And all men are going to have the same issues that I would have. So I can't put an expectation on them to be perfect, and then I hate them because they let me down.
Yep.
And so I don't allow that to happen. And so I leave people right in their space. I take what's valuable to me from them, and I keep it moving. I respect them. I shake a man's hand. I've sat in rooms with some of the most powerful and most influential black men of our time. And I'm telling you, I'm keeping it a buck. And none of what they have done has impacted me in any way adversely, because my expectation is that men are flawed. But I still can sit and shake their hand and learn from them.
And appreciate the knowledge that they have.
I'm talking about one most recently, a month ago. I'm not going to say his name. We sat in a room. We chopped it up. We shook hands. I told him, there's still love for you out here. You know, his response was, at one point in time, it didn't feel like it. I said, well, you'll see. It's still love for you. Just keep moving in the direction, keep chipping away at this thing. You feel me? And I don't want to say too much because it'll kind of tip my hand. I don't want to, put people's business in the street.
Right.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, there was a process that took place where that particular individual was, people was pissed at this guy.
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
They were pissed at him, but my point is that I was able to still have the same respect for him because my expectation is that people are flawed. Nobody is above. Perfect. Exactly. And so, but some people were like so let down that they probably wanted to do something to him. Or something. Like, you can't put yourself in that position. And so I live by my premise that I have no leader. There is no human man that can be my leader, period. The only person that could have done that and still has the capacity to do that, I think about one of my uncles that I have a strong relationship with, whom I love very much. I love him as a person, as a man, as a human being, all that he has done. And my father. And my father and I didn't have a relationship when I was a kid. But as I got older and we started to build a relationship when I became a man, I came to understand how profoundly intelligent this man was. And so he had the capacity to be my leader. Even though it never panned out that way, had he raised me, and I'm not getting on his case because I love him, God rest his soul, my father and I had a phenomenal relationship as I became a man. But had he raised me as a child, he would have been my leader because he was profoundly intelligent like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Despite his vices.
Right.
So that's just kind of how that goes. So I think our time is up, and this was another good one. Y'all have to please forgive me if I get hyper aggressive here in the studio, but that's out of love.
You're passionate about the information you're delivering, and you want people to get it.
Absolutely.
I oftentimes get confused with being angry about some of the things that I'm expressing to the audience, but they confuse my passion. You know what I mean? Maybe because they never seen it in that form before, or it registers to them as anger because of what they seen in other people.
Look, let me tell y'all something. I love my people so much that on the way over here, I thought about some things that had happened in the black community, and I almost started crying. It just made me. It just kind of, I had to get myself together. That's why,
like that for your people.
When I pulled up, that's why I needed a couple of minutes to just get on something else. But that young lady,
Zion Foster.
yes,
and they just found her. Yeah, you know, it's man. When you said that,
I
that's what I was
literally
thinking about.
I almost started crying driving down 7 Mile, dog, because I'm so hurt, because I think it's even gonna be more. Them finding her body is the beginning of finding out what actually happened. My heart tells me that this was not just about her smoking weed.
Of course, it wasn't.
I hate to say this, but my heart tells me that her older cousin was infatuated with her in some type of way.
That's what
she was
man,
beautiful.
You read, man.
And I just think something went wrong. I don't want to put that out in the air, but I'm not convinced that this was just that they smoked some
riding up the same street I said about this whole situation.
And I'm just hurt. I'm hurt behind it. And we not Superman. I can't be there and be protecting my family. I can't be there and be going to talk to my boys. I can't be there. We can't be everywhere. And the reality of the situation is I hurt for my people. I can only imagine what this mother is going through. I never even want to even think about something like that, but it just hurts. And we've lost a lot of people. And so I'm going to log off with my love, and my heart goes out to every single person that has lost a loved one, especially those who have lost a baby who didn't get an opportunity to live their life. And so I'm going to leave it there. Peace and love. We're going to get up with y'all next week on Revolutionary Wealth Builders over here on 7 Mile Radio. Go over to the Revolutionary Wealth Builders YouTube page, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll get with y'all on next week. Peace.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7